Testing 1, 2. Yep, looks good to me. Hey, Cato and Christopher, and appreciate you guys stopping by. Looking at a couple different whiskeys tonight. Thanks for Scotch for Dummies starting out with everything, and great show as usual. Talk a little bit about the buying items in a little bit. Thought we'd do something a little different here. Hopefully, Steve and Connor are still around. Thank you so much for helping out with the old salsa, and we're gonna look at, surprisingly, can't believe it. Hey, Steve, there you are. The Balblair 1983. I can't believe I'm even saying it. The reason is this. Not only is this tough to find and to acquire a Ford bottle, it's just amazing. It's one of those that's kind of equate to like a Holland Park 25 or something that caliber. We were talking earlier on Scotch for Dummies show about this guy, Whiskey Decisions, a new subscriber, by the way. And if you're stick around, appreciate it. I just got notified about that. He was a huge fan of the where was it going? I just saw a comment just distracted me. Christopher said, "Don't forget about the Tobias for Supernova trade." No problem. Yeah, just give me an email at telex@outlook.com so I don't forget. That's telex@outlook.com. T as in Tiger, E as in Echo, L as in Lima, E as in Echo, X as in X-ray at outlook.com. And that way I don't forget. Appreciate it. Anyway, getting back to the Balblair we were talking about, the 83. Hey, Dram, good to see you, man. I was comparing it to somebody. What was the I lost track. Sorry about that. But anyway, going back to this, I've had the 99, and I've not had the 90 even yet, which I'm really looking forward to trying. That one I can actually get. That one's not too bad. The 83 is like, yeah, I was talking about the Highland Park 25. That is a whole nother realm. Whiskey Decisions was the one I was talking about. He was saying that it was his favorite, and I was like, yeah, not only is the Highland Park 25 one of my favorites, but I'm thinking that yeah, that's the 25 is where it's at. Really, it's hard to pass that one up. The Highland Park 17, the dark is a really, if you're looking for something new to try, if you already had the 25, you love the 18, you want another Highland Park that's that caliber, I think the dark 25, the dark 17 is up there. The light is really good too for something different. I can't remember if it's also 17 years. I think it is. If I'm mistaken, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's also 17-year. Both about 300 a piece though, so they're definitely not cheap whiskey. But if you have it, can save up for it, well worth the effort, and I think worth your time. Steven's asking who had the Tobias. I have a few, but haven't opened any yet. Yeah, it's a hard one to find, Steven. I think Tom R also had a bottle, possibly. I'm not sure if he stuck around. Sometimes he can. Sometimes he has to wait and watch after, because I'm on a little late for him, I think. But I think he might have that Tobias. When I talked to Petite Cellars here locally, they were like, we had a few bottles, but we had a lot more people looking for it that we could get it for. And so they sold out like in a matter of seconds. He said he was gonna. He would have been happy to save it for me if he knew I was a big Compass Bach fan. And I'm like, well, I'm a fan, but I haven't really started collecting their stuff yet. That's kind of maybe down the road. There's enough just distillery stuff that I'm into right now where I don't want to get involved with the blends and stuff, because that's a whole nother area. When you're collecting, you have to be careful about focus, because if you go too far outside some sort of focus, you could find yourself really overwhelmed by what you know end up getting into. The starting off with Isla, I think, was smart, and branching to Campbelltown, and then thinking, well, instead of like a region, maybe one per, every distillery, to say I've tried everything, gave everything a really good, option to get pleased by it, because just a sample enough is not sometimes enough to really get a good experience of an entire bottle, which is really what you need. So um, I'm thinking of finishing that, and then maybe doing some Scotch Malt Whisky Societies, focusing on that and see how that goes. But let me sit out for a while. We've already got 8 minutes in. We haven't even started yet. So let's get started. Let's start out with, man, since it's such a pure, I don't want to mess with it at all. Let's start with the Balblair, because it's just in a realm of its own. LittleMill 12 is no joke either. I mean, it's at least 200, if not more, to get your hands on it. It's a dead distillery. But with that said, I don't think we're talking about the same quality, quick caliber of dram, even with that said being dead. I'll talk about the dead distillery thing here in a little bit, but oh, here we go. Steven says, I'm just lucky that no one in Nashville drinks scotch. I was able to grab them both. Wow. That is weird, man. I'd love to be a Scotch fan in Tennessee or Kentucky, because they sell so much bourbon there. It's almost sacrilegious probably to think of yourself as a Scotch fan living in those two states. But I'm the same way. I'm born and raised in Louisville. Like Steven, we're Southern guys that just don't get into the bourbon's just not doing it for us. We got to branch out and look to nectar of the gods like this. Oh man, Balblair. The 99 is enough to make you want to just lose your mind how good it is. The 90, looking at Mike from Scott for Dummies, Bourbon Shenanigans, Whiskey Shenanigans. Not sure what he's going by now, but his liking of the 90 is enough to make me just want to drool over the place and get my own bottle of it. So having this as an option is just unbelievable. Really nice, slow drop of legs, distant enough to see a lot of good separation, nice oily, just really nice slow drop. I have a feeling it's going to be a nice medium to heavy mouth coat. Oh wow. Damn. The nose is killer. The fruit is just in your face. Not that crappy fruit cocktail. I'm talking like top of the line. White grapes, peaches, pears, fresh, picked. It's not been sitting in juice. None of that Del Monte stuff. No offense to Del Monte. But wow. And then with that really nice fruit base, you've got all your really sweet, nice florals on top of it. We're talking about thick florals too. That's what's impressive about this whiskey, being the age is giving it. I mean, floral scents to me really aren't that great of a thing, typically, unless it's like harmonious and then drives really well with the savory aspects or the bitter aspects, whatever else you're getting. With this, it's like just a perfect blend, and it's a thick coat of floral. It's powerful florals. It's not faint. It's not dainty. It's not wayfish. It's pow in your face. Wow, it reminds me of Hibiki 21, but with steroids. This is now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steven. If you think I'm crazy out of my mind, but it's like if you took the delicacy, the intricity. How would you say it? You know what I'm trying to say. The detailed aspects of it, when you go into, it's got that of a really nice old Japanese whiskey, but it also has the power with it. So it's like Hibiki 21 and steroids. That's my intricacy. Yeah, intricacy. That's the word I'm looking for. It's got that floral heaviness, but get the marshmallows in there. And it's like goes tropical a little bit, but not too much. It's more of a thick, sweet fruit than a tropical fruit, though. Not a lot of twang or anything like that. Wow. I could nose this all freaking night. Steve is probably like, yeah, that's why these are up here and all the other ones are down there. Oh, there's nothing unpleasant. You can't find a bitter, minerally, sulfuric, and I mean, I like those qualities sometimes in whiskey if the mix is correct. But with this, it's just all pleasant. It's like having. I don't want to. I shouldn't even. Never mind. I guess it's for some reason supermodels has popped into my mind. It's like a really pristine classic supermodel is what this reminds me of. I'm talking like who's like classic. I'm not talking like old school 40s 50s stuff, but I'm talking like, trying to think of a good, the Cindy Crawford, Kathy Ireland, Claudia Schiffer, that kind of, when supermodels were the thing, that caliber, man, is uh, yeah, it's conventionally, well, I should say conventionally. There's nothing conventional about this. It's like it's like a Stingray Corvette 1984. It's perfect. The perfect color, the perfect everything. I mean, there's nothing I would change about this. Well, there's one thing, but I'll get to that last. And this is a 4.99 whiskey. Because I'm not even going to say it's a fault. It's just maybe one of those things that might make it better. But is it necessary? No. Oh man. There you go, DHS. That's what I'm talking about. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wait, I gotta look about this dram. That's like wow. Okay. Hold the phone. There's caramel, toffee, fruit, thick, coaty, like candied, ginger. Oh my goodness. Savory notes too. Oh, they should. I wish I could had a boatload of this stuff. No wonder it's rated so high. Typically rates 4.5 out of 5, and I'm not surprised. 46% ABV. It's spot on. 48 might make it a little more interesting. So maybe it's a 4.90 dram. I'm not gonna ding it for more than that though. It's just borderline sacrilegious nonsense if I go too crazy. But wow, ex-bourbon only. And that's the weird thing. This is one of the very, very few whiskeys that are solely ex-bourbon cask that don't have any. It doesn't have sherry involvement. It doesn't have any Amontillado or Mezzanilla or Fino or La 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 la. It doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just straightforward ex bourbon, pow aged in your face. Gimme, that's what it is. And damn if it's not perfect. Almost. I mean, uh that's rare because to me, like when I usually have an ex bourbon or a first fill bourbon or just bourbon exclusive cask, it tastes boring to me. It doesn't have the roundness, it doesn't have the refinement, it doesn't have the interesting notes that make it alive. It's just not quite there. This doesn't need anything. It doesn't need anything but being 46%, not even freaking 48, which is surprising enough to me. It also has, the age. I don't know when this is bottled. I know it's 83 vintage, but I don't know when it was actually bottled. Do you know what the year is on this, technically, Stephen? I'm curious. I'm assuming this is around a 20 year, if not 25, 30, somewhere between 20 and 30 is my guess. I don't even know when it's bottled, which is really sad. I want to say 2007. Let's see. Depends on the release. Oh, okay. 32 years. Wow. I knew it was at least a minimum of 20, and I wasn't surprised that it was at least 30. So thankfully I can detect the quality of this. It's just it's a good asinine. This usually the word asinine is kind of one of those words that you use for beyond ridiculous, just absolutely asinine, and it sounds nasty. It's not something pleasant, but this is a good asinine. if that's even possible. Yeah, first release. I had a feeling this was going to be 83, 2007-ish. Was about the right stuff, so that makes sense. Okay. Oh man, there's coconut in there even. I mean, I could go on forever. Oh man, it's funny when I've had a 21-year-old. I've had a 21-year-old at least Nika Takasuru. The 21 pure malt deal. It just it was nice. You could tell it was aged, but it didn't have the thickness. It didn't have the power. It didn't have the heavy to medium. I'm sorry, medium to heavy mouth coat that I love. And this has all that. Mm. It's got even a nice spice to it in the finish. It's got a hint of cinnamon and a little bit of I want to say paprika and some subtle black pepper, not thick, really light. It's got some savoriness to it. Wow. I mean, that's just amazing. Now I'm going to be really sad when it's gone. I'm going to cherish it. If it turned to Schmiegel right now, it's the precious. Oh, wow. VHS says, oh man, I want that Nika. I have the 17. The problem with Nika is 43. Yeah, and I think that's why this is a little bit better. The 46, I think, gives it a little more oomph. It gives it a little more, maybe even a little thickness of some sort. But the Nika Katsuru 21. I don't know if it's worth the price. I think you should get a sample first if you can. If I had it, I would definitely give you one. I got mine was a sample at some point, but DHS, give it a try first before shelling out that kind of money. I thought it was a big thin. If you're a Glengoyne fan, that kind of thing, then you're gonna like the Nika Takasuru 21, the pure malt. But if you're not a Glengoyne thin Dalmore kind of viscosity kind of person, then I wouldn't pull the trigger. Just my own, visual on that one. Steven says it's just so well done. Usually like the higher proof, yeah. But 46 is fine. Yeah, this doesn't taste hot like, excuse me, doesn't taste hot where it's like, ow, burns. But this is like the perfect power. It's right at a sweet spot. 46 to 48% is pretty much, if you're going neat, which this doesn't need a damn thing. It doesn't need water. I am going to add just one little drop just to see if I get anything different out of it, which I usually do. But man, I have a feeling it's going to bring out a lot of sweetness. Probably going to bring out a lot of sugar cookies, biscuity kind of stuff. But that's my guess. I could be wrong. We'll see on that one. Hey, Whiskey Ace, good to see you. Glad you stopped by, man. I really appreciate it. It's been too long. It's been a better week this week. I've been feeling a little better, getting in the hang of things, and feel like I'm hanging in there. Hey, there's Swami. Good to see you, man. I know I'm behind. I'm catching up on comments. I apologize for the delay. Oh, wow. Swami says he's asking to send me an invite on Facebook. I think FB is Facebook. An invite as in like a friend invite? Is that what you're asking for, Swami? Let me know. That's no problem at all. I thought we were already friends on Facebook, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we already were. 46 is a surprising upgrade to 43. Yeah, it is. And likewise with 43, even from 40, I think is a hell of a huge difference. I'd much rather have a 43. If I can get 46, I'll take that beyond anything else. 48 is a sweet spot, but 43 is a hell of a lot better than 40 by any day. Not working tomorrow, I want to drink. Hey, man, Swami, I hear you, man. I'm off tomorrow too, so it's going to be a nice night. Oh, no, to go live with you. Okay, let's do it. Let's think here. How are we going to do this? We're going to send him an invite on Facebook. Oh, and Messenger. That's what you mean by Facebook is Messenger. Okay. Yeah, give me a second. So if I want to invite Swami, if I remember correctly, I've got to go to not cameraman, control room, is it? No. Oh, I know there was like a special way you had to do this. Settings, no. Oh, let me try to find it real fast. Sorry for the delay, guys. Just give me 1 second. If I could find it. I'm probably looking in the wrong thing. Let me minimize that screen. No, it's not it either. Let's go back to that one. Lost my chat. Let me get my chat back. There we go. Yeah. Oh, you mean copy the link off of the regular link? Gotcha. Sorry, I did this a different way before. That's why I was concerned. I guess you're talking about the actual Hangouts link. So let me do that. I almost, Swami, believe it or not, I almost gave you my YouTube links by mistake. You really laughed at me on that one. Okay, so let's go to Facebook. And let's do a account switch here. And we'll switch it on over. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry for the delay on this one. DHS says, I was shocked, but I don't think Harvey did anything. I want to add water. Edward Ardbeg. Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. That's one whiskey that it does. I mean, I always add it to see if I get something, but All right, there's Swami. Let's try this. All right, Swami, I think it's sent. Now I don't have a headset plugged in, so I'm not sure how this is going to work, if I'm going to be able to hear you this way or not. I'm trying to think if I plug it in now, if it's going to work. Oh my goodness. Let me think. I'll try it. I can't promise this is going to work, but we'll see what we can do. Give me 1 second here. because I don't know if I can hear him without, and I don't want to hear everyone else to hear, so I'm looking for USB ports. Oh, that's right, that one's taken. Let's try this middle one. If things start breaking, I'm blaming Swami. Thankfully, this laptop's pretty good. Test this. Well, I hear, but the delay is so bad that I'm not going to be able to do it that way. So you sent me an email. I'm not okay. I guess it didn't work. All right. Well, let me unplug this because that is annoying. I can hear myself like 5 seconds after the fact. Let's I guess that didn't work. So let me send you an email. I'm not sure why I have to send you an email if I just sent you the link, but I'll do it this way too. Let's see. I'm just going to call it link so you see it in the thing. Of course, I got to do that again. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Usually I would have something like that planned out, but it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I sent him a link. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not sure how I can even hear Swami because I don't have my headset on, and if I don't start it, maybe if I turn the sound down on the other one, maybe it'll work. Let me try that. If I plug in and turn the sound down on the return, maybe that'll work. Okay, the headset's down, but I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to hear anything. I'm trying to think of what's the best way to do this, Swami? It's been so long since I had anyone do a live where I'm hearing them come through. Yeah, I actually work in IT for a living too, so it's kind of it's one of those things where if you don't do it very often, you're going to forget. And I haven't done this in so long that I can't remember the steps that you have to do in order to get it to work, where you could hear the other person without hearing echoes and all that craziness. The headset's the only way I know of to do it. So this could be interesting. I guess I'll have to. I'll turn the sound down on the replay of the video and just try to hear him that way. All right, Swami, are you able to get in? I sent you the link. I think maybe the pop-out's not a good link. Let me try it a different way. One more time. If this doesn't work, Swami, we'll have to do it another day. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, I sent you the wrong one. Let me send you the right link. Sorry. Jeez, it's always something. The problem is when you get, I literally have about 20 links on my screen right now, and I got to remember to send the right one. So that was my fault on that deal. All right, get my chat back. Here we go. All right. DHS set up a router today. He has no idea what he did. I have set up lots of routers over the since the 90s even, and it's never a dull moment, that's for sure. Okay, so let me get rid of that and let's get out of this. I think it'll work, Swami, if you connect, because I got my sound, I think, situated where I can hear you. If you're able to join, we'll see if it works here. I think let me make sure it's in my sent items. Yeah, there it is. Yep. So he should. We'll look for him in here in a second. Let's get back to this glorious dram. Yeah, Cisco routers over the years have been fun to deal with. Donner Passage is doing in Clergalic 13. That's a good one. It has like a lot of white pepper. I remember in like a lot of pear. It's very. It had a lot of light, but it also had a lot of like herbal things in the back and the side of it too. I like that dram a lot. I want to try their 20. Was it 23? The 13, I think a 23. I bet that's a tasty one. I haven't tried it before though yet. Yeah, I don't really have any other information other than for Balblair, we all know that they've changed recently. They're to 12, 15, and 21. I'm assuming. Have you guys had any? Has anyone had any of the new Balblair stuff? And if they have, is it good? Is it bad? Is it the same? What is your initial take on it? I'm glad I've tried some of these years before they've switched just to see what they've done and what they're going to. Same with Old Pulteney. I just tried their 17 to 21 before they went down to a 15 to 18. I've only liked the 15 so far. I need to try the 18 again and see if I just had a bad experience maybe the first time. Steven says he's just buying the old stuff. Yeah, I don't blame you there. It's 99. Yeah, I've got my eyes on a bottle of myself here in Maryland. I might pull the trigger someday, but there's just so many other things I'm trying to get that I wish I could just get them all at once, but I can't. Yeah, you might want to order it soon. I'm sure they're not going to be around for much longer since they've already got that new line. I think a lot of places are going to like start doing a. Oh, what happened, Swami? It should have worked. That second link I sent you. I know the first one was bad. It was the YouTube link, but the Hangouts link should work. It's the full deal. But I appreciate you trying. I'm sorry that oh, it doesn't work. That's weird. As I'm copying it directly from the window, the Hangouts window that I'm using, but let's plan it next time. Hey Swami, can you be here next week? Are you sure? If you are, let's give it a try right before, maybe like the day before, or at least like 4 or 5 hours before, and to see if we can get it to hook up. Yeah, let's try that, and that way I'll have all the kinks ironed out, and it won't be such a train derailment. Sorry about that, man. I really appreciate you hanging out. What you drinking, Swami? By the way, we'll have a tech show. We'll have Swami 2D, 1.1 Swami instead of like 5.5. It's not as good, but it's just as entertaining and interesting. Oh wow, this also reminds me a little bit of the. It's got that fruit and power of the Bruichladdich Black Arts 4 and the 5.1. It's more like the 5.1 because the 4 to me had a little bit of truffle, a little dankiness in it that I did get in the 5 and I don't get in this one. This one, even though it's got the age, and the age is there, the refinement's there, the complexity there, the dankiness, the leatheriness isn't there with this. This is more of a classic. It's all in the finish, in the palate on this one. I mean, the nose is fantastic and do it all day, but the prize is that finish. Yeah, Christopher, I know it. They do have it. It's been on the radar for a while, but the price point is just so high that it'd have to be a very special occasion, or it'd have to be on a hell of a sale. Put it that way. $450 is just a little bit too high for me. Good price though. I mean, I think it's worth it. It's damn good. It is better than a lot of the 300, 350 whiskeys I've had. So I think it is. The mouth coat and the finish is well deserved. I mean, the fruit goes on forever. It's like if Lagavulin decided to try to do a really nice Bayside Highland type of dram that was all fruit, thick and solid. I mean, it's that good. Man, Jack Barrel proof. Uh-oh. $2.99. Oh my goodness gracious, dude. That would definitely be worth it, but I can't pull the trigger on that right now. But definitely help the folks out if they can afford that price right now. I'm still got my eyes on a couple other distilleries first that I got to get through before I go back to Balblair. But if man, that's tempting because the 83 won't be around much longer. And 450 to 300 is a huge difference. Man, that's tempting. Can't get over the nose on this. The nose is actually, I think, the number one aspect, even though the palate and the finish are so damn good too. The nose is even better. $2.97 for the 83 is crazy price. Yeah. Oh, I ignored your comment. I missed it. Sorry, man. What did I miss? What did I miss? Dram says, when do I get to join? What are you trying to join? You want to join in on the on a conference? You're more than welcome to, Dram, if you want to try. I don't know if this link will work though. Didn't work for Swami, unfortunately, for some reason. I copied and pasted it just directly from a thing. You want me to try it? Are you talking about something else, Dram? Just curious. Hmm. It's a perfect balance of savory and sweet, fruity, ginger, white pepper, coconut even. It covers the realm. The only thing it does not have is sulfur, mineral notes, anything off-putting. Oh, okay. Try it next week. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds good. That would be cool. Yeah, well, let's do a test run. Trying to think. I'll send you an email, Dram, and try to see if we can maybe do a test run and see how it goes connectivity wise. It should be fine though. I've done this with even folks in South Korea, and it's worked, so it shouldn't be a big deal, even if you're in California. He said, "Oh, he's shy." No, he just probably doesn't want to get involved with it all right now. I know how it goes. I've already tried enough. We got to wrap this up and do the LittleMill here before we shut her down. Oh man, Steven, this is absolutely fantastic. I just can't get over how good the quality is. It's bar none how amazing. Once you exceed 30 years on a whiskey, how it just really takes over your soul. It's weird. Oh man, and it rides with you. It does not die. This finish is still going. This is what I wish. Yeah, definitely, Stephen. This is what I wish Japanese whiskey tasted like. If I could find the hibiki or a chiro or nika or something that had that power, it would be something else. I don't know if it exists. Maybe Yamazaki 18 never had one of those. I've heard those are pretty damn good. Maybe this is like that. Have you ever had a Steve? If anyone's ever had it, Steven probably has. Have you ever had the Yamazaki 18, and is it reminiscent at all to the Balblair 83? I'm just curious if there's any connection, similarities at all. Because I definitely get a sense of it with the Hibiki 21, minus the power that this one has. I think is. Hmm. And thankfully, I saved myself some. I poured myself a half pour to be good, so I can really still enjoy it. Oh, he actually wrote down distilled in '83 and bottled in 2015. Sorry about that. I missed that earlier, Stephen. I was looking at the notes on distiller as I was kind of talking about it earlier, trying to get the cask type. I just can't get over it. It's bourbon only. Ex-bourbon only is just insane. How complex that is. Rich has never had an 83 yet, but it's still unopened. Yeah, I'm at 18 left. Wow. You see, that would be something I'd love to compare. If I had a way to compare the two, I would just be amazed. Oh man. I bet it's got minus the spice. I think the Balblair also has a little bit of spice, maybe that some of these Japanese whiskeys don't really go to, toward, but I think there's still a lot of similarities there. Yeah, the 18 is getting to the point where you can return a bottle. DHS is exactly right on that, man. It's a shame. I've always wanted to try it, and they've got, I work in DC, and there's a place that has it, I think, where you can get a pour, but the pour price is just insanely high, and it's just like, well, it's just not worth it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it's a special occasion with a group of good friends, maybe it'd be worth going down there to get it, but not just, after work in the, hot, sweaty sun. I'm not going to go and spend, an absorbent amount on a 1 ounce pour. That's for damn sure. Steven says, I've had not, but it's not as powerful as the 83, but it's matured in sherry cask. Yeah. Oh, he has had that one. Yeah. The 83 is like the finesse and fruit of Japanese, but has the power with it as well. I think that it really helps out. 500 pounds at the UK auction, that's crazy. Richie says he bought 4 back in the day, went through 3 Yama back a few years. Wow. 3. That's you must be a big fan then. Steven says he sold all his expensive stuff due to them not being able to worth the right price, kind of like what's happening with bourbon. Yeah. Isn't that sad that Scotch is just where it's at, I think. I'm surprised people bother with the Irish or the Kentucky bourbon or even American stuff. I mean, gin, all that crap, rum. Scotch is where it's at. If you want a complex, fine, exquisitely done, great drink, I don't see how you can not just stick with Scotch. It's just so damn good. It's such a little small place too, Scotland is, to think about all the great liquid that comes from that little place. Is probably the equivalent, the size of a state like I'm sure it's probably bigger, but like Virginia or something. It's just amazing that, a fairly sized country is like got hundreds of years of juice. That's just phenomenal. All right. Speaking of phenomenal juice that you can't get anymore hardly, this one is thankfully obtainable, and thankfully it is under $450 or even $300. This you can still get for a couple hundred. It's called LittleMill. It's a 12-year, 40 ABV, unfortunately. It is most likely has colorant and chill filtering and all that. The Balblair, by the way, was not chill filtered. I don't even think it was colored. I think they just went all natural on that. That's a 4.9 out of 5. It's so close to a 5, it's not funny. Peat was the answer. I was actually thinking, is there some way I can make this any better? The only 2 things I could think of in Balblair 83 that you can improve upon it is try a little peat. Well, actually 3 things. Try a little peat. That's the first thing I would try. Second thing is to try a higher ABV than 46, but 46 is enough. I'm definitely not bitching. And the third thing is maybe try a different cask just to see what it can do. Since you are just sticking with a bourbon, you don't really need it, and that's why it's still a 4.9 out of 5. I should say 4.75 because I usually do 0.25 increments, but that's another story. You know, that's the only thing. Peat, possible ABV increase, and maybe a possible cask influence, but it doesn't need any of that stuff. That's why it's 4.75 all day long. So close to a 5, it's not funny. LittleMill, on the other hand, is a dead distillery. Now, dead meaning that they're not functioning anymore, sadly. They're old school. Now, let me get some notes on this guy. This was also a very, very gracious salsa sample by Mr. Gracious, Generous Paul. Appreciate it, Generous Paul, definitely. I'm not sure if he watches anymore. I think he's watched a couple here and there, but we trade salsa sometimes, and this was a really nice deal where we were trying to hit all the distilleries. We did that, and we at the very end we saw some of these dead and very new ones. So we've been hitting a very recently opened and very distantly dead distilleries to see what they have to offer. This one's a lowland. Balblair was I think that was a Highland, right, or Speyside. I can't remember which one it is. I should have talked about that earlier, but I think you guys already know. It's like with my show, I know I cater to a little more people that have been around the block or two already, and that's why I don't really get into some of the minute details on some of this stuff, but it's good to know Highland. That's what I felt from the beginning, but sometimes they throw you for a loop if they're really good fruity based ones that I think Speyside. That's why I was like, it's got to be a Highland or a Speyside, one of the two. But anyway, the LittleMill 12-year-old. It's a lowland distillery, and this is by way of Paul's notes. Very well done. I'm not going to get into his tasting notes. I don't want to be influenced by it, but let's start with some history. The Lowland Distillery made the claim of having been the oldest officially licensed distillery in Scotland and founded in 1772, but its life in 1997, when it was dismantled and subsequently burned down in 2004. Wow. Its life ended is probably what he meant to say there. I was able to procure this 12-year-old by way of auction. I'm not sure what the retail price was back in the day, but it's over 170 to win, so about 200 probably after shipping, I'm thinking. You got to pay out the nose for history. For 40 ABV, I'm sure is making him nervous. He's not saying this now. I'm just saying this for him, basically. Chill filter and possibly a heavy dose of colorant, making it the amber honey color, which it is very dark for a 12, I'd say. That is most likely colored. I think he is spot on with that. But that doesn't make or break a whiskey. It really doesn't. I don't like it as much, but I have had colored whiskeys that are just as tasty and gorgeous as anything else. So we'll skip his I'm not even going to read his notes. I don't want to get influenced by what he said. So let's see what we get here. Let's have a little palate cleanser too. Let's see if I have another glass to use. Well, we'll use the dram glass. Try to be a somewhat semi-professional. As sad as that sounds. Thanks for chatting among yourself there. Steven says he's never had a LittleMill. Yeah, it's a rare one. It's still out there. It's still obtainable. You might have to order it overseas. You might have to do that. Yeah, I agree, Richie. The Donmar King Alexander is a good whiskey. Thankfully, you can still find it under 300. 40%, but you add 1 drop of water to it, and I'm talking like a smidgen, little bitty drop. It really opens it up. It's a beautiful whiskey. I'm not a huge fan of Dalmore's pricing practices and some of the things that they do, but that whiskey, I will say, it is good. That's just my take. So it goes to show 40% isn't always necessarily a bad thing. The hopefully this one does not disappoint. I don't have any casks, information as far as what they used for a 12-year. I'm thinking it's probably pretty straightforward, like a bourbon cask. The color is such that makes me think that, I mean, maybe that is why it's a little darker if it's not colored. I wonder if it does have any sherry influence to it, but decent hole in the run, surprisingly well for a 12-year. I have a good mouth coat to it. Let's see. Let's see what we get for ah. It has a Macallan-esque kind of a nose. Now, to some people, that's going to be not a good thing. Some people, it's going to be a great thing. And the minor aspect, it's not a Benevis level sulfur, but there's a little bit of sulfur. A little bit of funk, a little bit of tannin, a little bit of that toffiness. Thick, aged toffee. Wow, it's definitely got like a savoriness to it. It's like the deep caramelization. But thankfully there's nothing like sour. There's no sauerkraut. There's no like, nothing off-putting about it. It's got it kind of I'm surprised it's a lowland because it reminds me of a Campbelltown slight funky Springbank leathery note. Wow. Molasses even. It smells thick as hell. It's like what is that? I can picture it. I'm trying to describe. Oh, what Kilhoman do I think is best? Sorry, I missed your question earlier, Christopher David, on that one. Um, oh man, I love some Kilhoman. My favorite. That is a tough one, and I'll tell you why. The only Kilhoman that didn't do it for me, honestly, was the 100% Isla, and only because it has a lot of floral aspects to it that I didn't really want in my peated whiskey. Now, that's one thing I do appreciate is some nice floral notes in like the Balblair. The fruit and florals I think go well together. Peat and florals don't usually do it for me unless it's done well like a Talisker 18. That peat and floral works. With Kilholman, I think it was too young. I think aged whiskey that's peated works with floral notes. I don't think young whiskey with peated notes works with floral notes, if that makes any sense to you. Now back to these. I love the Sauternes cask. The 2008 vintage I thought was excellent too. The Lot Gorm is one of my all-time favorites. The Seneg was great because it reminded me of the Longmore 16. It had a lot of savory, spicy notes to it. The red wine cask matured is probably numero uno, but the original cask strength has the perfect blend of strength, cashews, peanuts, peanut brittle, sweet, nice peat, in your face, but that cask strength. It's a tie between the red wine cask strength matured and the original cask strength. It's one of those two, and that would depend on my mood. If I'm in a sherry mood, in a kind of a dark sweet mood, then definitely the red wine cask matured. If I'm in more of a purist Lafroy cask strength kind of mood, then the original cast strength is what I will shoot for. Do I have an Impex pick? No. Yes. I don't have them yet. I have heard and I have my eyes on a sherry, Impex sherry Kilhoman that is a single cask, I believe. And I am going to pick that up at some point if they still have it. I hope to God they still do. They have had a bourbon version. I was that close to pulling my trigger on it, but since I heard the sherry version was coming, I held back, and I'm going to, I think, pull the trigger on that one if it's still available. It's so sad because there's so many whiskeys I want to get to that I can't because I just can't afford to buy 50 of them at a time. I haven't either, but I have heard they're exceptional as well. And I think that any Impex is going to be good. Any Kilhoman I've had is actually good. The Port Wine Matured is the only other one I was not happy with that much. So for Kilhomans, the only ones I think you might want to kind of be careful with is the 100% Isla and the Port Cask Matured version. Not to say they're bad. Subjectively, I didn't get into them as much as all these other ones that you see right here. Any of these, I'd buy all day long, every night, day of the week. No questions asked, no hesitation. That's how easy it is to buy Kilhoman. They're one of my favorites. I hope to God that Ardnaho, which is a new Isla distillery, does as well as Kilhoman. The more the merrier. Everyone should be embracing these guys. Now, I heard that Douglas Lane got into a lawsuit over Gartbreck, which was another Isla distillery that was coming, and there was some sort of issue with I forgot what the later part of the discussion was that ended the Art Gartbreck's journey, but something to do. I can't remember if it was a rights issue to land or if it was a warehouse issue, but something happened where Douglas Lane did not let them go forward, and I wish they had a way to figure this out because to have another option of an Isla whiskey, uh, even if it's outside of Douglas Lane's, portfolio, I think more the merrier. Just because there's another Isla distillery isn't going to make you sell less Scotch. I don't think, even if it's great. I don't buy any less Lagavulin than I do Kilhoman. I don't buy any less Lafroig, even though I love it, than I do Ardbeg because I love it just as much, if not more. So it's there's enough grass on the field for everybody is what I'm getting at, and I hope that they can sort this kind of crap out and let people compete, let people get their product out there, and let the product speak for itself. None of this law bullshit. Just get out there, get your product out, and if it's good, people are going to buy it. If it's not, people aren't going to buy it, and that's just the way business is supposed to work. That's my soapbox. It's LittleMill is interesting because it's like a lighter version of Ben Nevis to me, with that sulfuric tone, and that toffee is good. There's a little butterscotch in there. There's even some fudge, some chocolate fudge, I think, in there too. Huh. I'm getting savory sweet all day long on this one. So if you're into a Ben Nevis, if you're into Glenturret, Glenturret is a very good distillery to compare this to taste wise. If you've ever had a Glenturret, then I think you're going to be down with it. Can't tell you, Richie, about the LittleMill finish because I haven't even done the palate yet. We're doing that next. I'm taking my time. I'm off tomorrow. Mm. Wow. My God, it's 40%? No way. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. That's a first, actually. That's really a first. Now, typically, All right, DHS. Thanks for staying by and hanging on as long as you could. This is surprising because it has got power. It's got some oomph to it, being 40% taste wise. I'm surprised because I didn't have to add water to bring things out. The palate was powerful enough just from the get go, from the beginning. I did let it breathe for a good, 15 minutes before I sipped, but wow, very well done. I'm surprised that this is a dead distillery. I'm speechless. I can't believe it. I can't believe it burned down. 2004, man. That's sad. This reminds me so much of a Springbank Glenturret hybrid. It's not funny, and that's a good thing to me. Glenturret's one of my favorites, and as well as Springbank. And to imagine those two teaming up and doing a nice 40 that tastes like a 46%, that's crazy. No wonder they can charge for this stuff. Thanks again, generously, Paul, for the sample for this deal, man. Wow. Amazing. Huh. Doesn't need water, but I will add a little to it. Really, I guess the only complaint, I'm not going to call it a complaint because it's good, but the only thing that irks me a little bit is the palate is very similar to the nose. But the good thing about the palate to me, though, it does have a lot of tropical things that I didn't get on the nose. Because it starts out like nose-wise, it goes with the medium red fruits like strawberries, raspberries, and that sulfuric, thinky, funky stuff like the Benevis kind of thing. But then when the palate, it introduces a lot of mangoes and pineapple. And it goes into the real thick Werther original candied, but burnt like toffee. And then it goes into like a truffle, like a black truffle note at the finish. Not overly dry, thankfully. Really nice coat. It's got some butter on the finish too. It's got some biscuit, sugar cookie. It's all over the place. Not in a bad way. It's just it's definitely more savory, definitely heavier, definitely more powerful than I anticipated. All the above. Even though it's the a 12-year, I guess the age of the juice itself is why it stands out so much. Being that it can't be any newer than '04, maybe that's what makes a huge difference. Wow, that's amazing how thick and molassesy the taste is. Got some root beer in there in the finish too. Wow, man, it's complex for a 12-year. Powerful for a 40. Even though it's got the coloring and the chill filtering aspects, it's not killing the flavor for me. I mean, it's not perfect by any means. I mean, excuse me, it's just better than I anticipated it to be. So I'm trying to decide on like what type of score to even contemplate giving it. It's a tough one because the nose is good, just as good as the palate. The finish is up there too, solid on all, three aspects. The finish could be a little longer, maybe. It definitely wasn't as long as the 83, but the 83 is a 32. This is a 12. That's a huge difference. Hard to compare the two. They're not in the same caliber, you know. I was thinking out loud on the differences, nuances between the two I'm getting. Steven, if you do find the LittleMill 12, and if you can find it for a decent price around 200, I would pull the trigger just to say you've tried it, because like the Pityvac, which is another one that is $300-ish bottle, it's worth a try. It really is worth a try. Would I personally go out and seek to buy it? I don't know. Maybe the Pityvac is reminiscent of this one too. They all have that Benevis-ish sulfuric / funky, leathery, nice mix with the fruit, tobacco, toffee, molassesy. Interesting. I think the age is what's killing this one. The ABV is, it is what it is. I wish it was a little higher, but it's not. I don't think it's really hurting it that much. That's why I'm going to give this one a higher score than I thought. I thought coming in it was going to be a decent whiskey, probably a 3.0 to 3.5, and that was going to be it. But it's solid. It's definitely going to be very much enjoyed. And I'm thinking 4.25 minimum. I can only imagine what their 16 and 18 and 21 would be like. I mean, I think 4.25 is 4 to 4.25, easy. I guess since it's colored, chill filtered, only 12, only 40, it's hard to give it a 4.25 for that reason. But it's so damn good that I can look past the 12. I can look past the 40. The coloring, chill filtering, I'm kind of, about. The age would really help, definitely. So I'm thinking a 4.25 is actually worth doing. If it had the 43, or if it had a 15, or if it wasn't colored and chill filtered, I probably would slap a 4.5 easy on it. So I think a 4.25 is definitely worth a look. $200, I know it's pricey for a 12-year. It sounds insane to a lot of people, but with it being dead, it's like, what are you going to do? Say no? There's only a few places I know that still has this. You probably will have to get it on an auction. I think there's a place in the Netherlands I saw it, maybe a place in Europe, a few other places, but auction houses are probably only the places you're going to probably find it. Hopefully just get lucky and there's like a lot of it being sold at once where people are just held on to it and they're deciding to get rid of it, and it's a fire sale, and you get it for $150 to $200 and call it a day. That would be awesome. So I'd say it's definitely worth a look. I would not be pissed if I spent $200 on a bottle of this. If it was $250 to $300, then I would be like, somebody messed up somewhere. But as long as you can get it under $2, I think it's a good buy. I really do. Cheers to LittleMill. I know you're not there anymore, but I appreciate you and reminisce about the past. Wow, that is solid, man. I guess we haven't done water, have we? Steve says, good to hear about LittleMill. Did you see that Orphan Barrel's next bowling is Pityvac? No, I did not know that. That would be a good offering to try. Orphan Barrel, I guess, is like a independent bottling. I'll look into that and see if I can figure out what they're going to do, because Unfortunately, the only pitted vodka that's available for purchase is about $300. So if they're doing a bottling, hopefully it's not that price point. Hopefully it's 1 to 150, 200. Hopefully at the most, 250 at the absolute max. Hopefully, but we'll see. The cool thing is, I know that Diageo is opening a lot of these distilleries back up, like Rosebank. I think Pittivac is one of them they might be tapping into. Maybe that's why Little Orphan Barrel is doing their deal with them. But you're going to start seeing some of these distilleries that have been closed for so long come back up to life. So maybe someone, if I'm lucky, maybe someone will buy LittleMill. And let's start off with this LittleMill. And then we'll add water to the Balblair if we have a little time. I'm in no hurry. Anybody in a hurry? I'm not in a hurry. So we'll have a little bit of an extra pour of the LittleMill here. We're enjoying it. And we'll get our little testy water available here and see what we can do with a little drop. And I'm talking like minuscule. Beep. That was one little drop. Let's get one more in there just to get the molecules flowing. Oh wow, sorry. I gotta catch up on the comments here. Those Diageo has released Broken Pass. Oh, it's the first single malt. So it is Diageo. Is it like Diageo's own independent bottling? Is that what they're doing now? Maybe. Smart. They have enough of the different distilleries. Like, I think they have Glenord and Strasilia and Tormore. I mean, all these off the wall distilleries. I'm sure they have at least 20 to 30 they could tap into to do some of these nice single malts. So that'd be kind of cool if that's what they're doing. Is that their like own independent bottling, Stephen? Let me know if that's what Orphan Barrel is. Whiskey says, "Do all of your cans from them will have juice?" Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them have juice, some of them don't. And I'm not telling you which ones do and which ones don't. Oh man, yeah, I'm still definitely tapping into some of these guys, but I will say that the Springbanks are gone, the Bonnehavens are gone, the Lacheg is gone, the Ardbegs, there might be one or two in there. I'm still maybe three. I'm still kind of four. Maybe 4 Ardbegs I'm still sipping on that. See out of my corner of my eye. Lafroig is like maybe 1 or 2, 3 I'm still sipping on. Out of those, the Kilhomans are spent. The Scotias are spent. The Kilherans are spent. The Octomores are spent. The Kalilas are spent. The Lagavulins are spent except one, which is the Fishel 18 I haven't touched yet, which is going to be a special like opening. That's going to be kick ass. I have a feeling, as I love Lagavulin. I haven't had a bad one. I love all their stuff. I haven't had a bad issue with it yet. But and there's other bottles this way that you can't even see that have juice. So there's juice still everywhere. Steven says it looks like the Pittivac has 26-year-old and $3.99. That's what I was afraid of. Yeah, they have a 300 for the distillery release of a 25. I want to say. Is it a 25 maybe? Or is it younger? I can't remember if it's younger than 25. There's at least a 25-ish one that retails for 300-ish for the distillery. I have had a sample and it was good. Now, was it worth 300? I don't know about all that. Maybe 2 to 250, but that's a tough one. I'm not sure if I could pull. I mean, 26 years though. That's saying something. Maybe it is worth it. I mean, that price is not unheard of for that type of year. But you can get a Glenfarclas 25 for a lot less. So it depends on how you look at it, really. Thanks, Richie, for the comment. Yeah, I wish I could like get those three shelves over that way over this way, so you guys could see the whole thing. But that you can't, you know, you only got room. So I'm going to start moving things around though to make it look a little more interesting. So I'm sure you're tired of seeing the same old Isle of bottles back there. It's going to be a lot of different distilleries soon once I get more of the bottles in. If I could fit them a certain way, certain bottles unfortunately are different sizes. So there you go. Good evening, everyone. Oh, Mose, there he is. I was wondering where you were, man. Good to see you, Mose. I'm glad you could stop by. You'll have to rewind for the Balblair 83, though. Well, actually, I'm gonna try it with water here in a second, so you can still partake in that. And we've got let's see, and Jason Coates too. Thank you so much for stopping by. By the way, I know you've been around since the beginning, but wanted to say thanks for sticking around. Oh man, it's just amazing how I'm not sure what it is about Glenturret, Springbank, Little Mill, some of these distilleries that get that funkiness, that dinky, leathery goodness, Dunnage Warehouse thing going on. Must be the way that they're doing the process, I guess, that makes it stand out more. But pretty good. All right, let's go to. They take old barrels from their stocks, which is Old Dickel, and sell them off. It's only been American whiskey and one Canadian until now. Interesting, huh? Old barrels is just sell them off. That'd be good. Whiskey Ace loves the log 8. I think it's good. The funny thing is the 8 is probably like my least favorite, only because it's got the one bourbonish kind of cask influence. It's a good breakfast dram. It's got really good peaty notes to it, but it doesn't have sherry. It doesn't have the cask strength aspects. It doesn't have the other types of cask influence. It doesn't have the age. It's the 8 is the only one I'm kind of like in between on. It's like a 3.25 to 3.5 for me. But yeah, I mean, if I'm in the mood for burnt toast, then the Lagavulin 8 is definitely a good a good option, like a Bunnahabhain Choychek, that kind of thing. I have to be in the mood for it, but if I want peat and that's all I want, then that's what I'm going to go for. Steven says, I'm not a fan of any of the orphan barrels, though, so I don't have high hopes for the single malt. Yeah. And for that price point, $400, man, you would think that it would be a sure round solid. I'm like that with the classic cask offerings. I've yet to find one that's really done it, for me. Not big on the berries offering. I've tried a couple of their stuff. Never didn't really get into it. Won't buy any more berries offerings. I think I'll stick to the little more sure deal ones of like Signatory. Exclusive malts is always a good one. Cadenheads, that kind of thing. And see, where that goes. Whiskey Ace says there's a little bit of minty spice in the Lefroy cask strength. I didn't notice. I could see that. It's got the menthol. I call it menthol, maybe menthol, like a menthol cigarette, like a Newport. That sounds good right now. Actually, I haven't smoked since 2012, which is thankfully a long, long time. But man, oh, I still miss it. Jason Coates says, I love those dinky, funky drams. Yeah, this is one of them, man. Hopefully you can find a little. Jason, have you had a LittleMill 12 before, or a LittleMill at all? I'm curious to see because it reminds me of that Glenturret Ben Nevis kind of deal. Glenfarclas has it a little bit. This more so than the Glenfarclas. Glenfarclas is very subtle with its sulfuric notes. I think Ben Nevis is and Glenturret in this one are a little more. Oh, you haven't had a LittleMill or a Glenturret. Oh man, definitely. I had a what was it? Gordon MacPhail's Glenturret MacPhail collection, and that was actually really good. Had a very similar palate experience to this one. The nose was maybe not as good, but but LittleMill is like this is the nose is probably one of the best like sulfuric noses I've had. Next to maybe a Bowmore Darkest Stuff 15 has kind of that aspect too. He loves the Mortlock Glenallachie. Yes, true. Hey, Whiskey Pilgrim, good to see you. There's a Glenturret in the but it's heavily peated. That might be good if you could imagine. I bet you that tastes a lot like a long row, Jason. Have you had a long row before? It's a heavily peated Springbank, basically. Glenturret is sort of like a Springbank Ben Nevis kind of a dram. So if you can imagine a heavy peat, it'd probably be like a long row. Sorry. Would you pull the trigger on a Lagavulin 9 for a decent price, 62? Fuck yeah, Mose. What the hell? I pull that trigger today, tonight, right now. 62 is a very, very, very well-deserved price. They should be charging 85 for it, I think. I think the price just justified. I like it a lot better than the standard 8. And I thought it was well done. I went through my bottle very quickly, sadly. Wish I had another one, which I'll probably won't see it again unless they re-release it. I hope to God they do. Because for $60 is a hell of a price all day long. You should definitely get it right now. Richie says, have you got the Bladnock yet? Yeah, I've got the Bladnock Adela 15 review. Go check that out, Richie. I think you'll enjoy the Bladnock Adela 15 at least. I can't speak for their other offerings, but check out my review for the. I just did it recently too, like 1 or 2 ago. The Bladnock Adela 15, very well done. I talk about the different sherries. I think it was Oloroso, maybe NPX in that one. I can't remember which one because I did 2 at the same time. That one was just Oloroso, one was Oloroso NPX. I remember, but it's more than reasonable. That's a good price. Should be a lot more, I think. Richie says curious about Bladnock and the legendary Brora. Oh yeah, I mean who's not interested in Brora? They need to have their leg amputated. That's craziness. Port Ellen and Brora are my 2 dream bottles. I don't care if it's a freaking 3-year. I would give my left testicle to taste a Brora or a Port Ellen or a Rosebank. Those are the 3 super unicorn bottlings that I would, oh my goodness gracious, do for. Jason says, strangely, no, I haven't tried long more. Oh, wow, long row. Wow. I have a bottle of the 18 stashed away. You're gonna love it, man. If you already like Springbank and the Ben Nevis, you are going to absolutely love, I think, the long row if you like peat. And if you like that one, you're probably gonna love the one you were talking about, the heavily peated Glenturret. So why not pull the trigger on that too if you do like the long row? That's what I would do. I'd try the long row first. If you like the long row, then go for the Glenturret. Win is what I'm saying. It's a shame that horse didn't make the Derby. Did you guys have a good Derby? I did. I had an interesting watch, man. I can't believe that horse was disqualified on one hand, but the other hand, I can see why it was because that guy was all over the freaking track. So it's sad that it happens. Thank God it's rare. But cheers to Country House. I was going to pick that actually because I like the Blair song. Blair's a band from Britain that I actually like, that still occasionally get an album out once every 5 or 7 years or so. But they have a song called Country House from the 90s that is a classic. And when I saw that horse, I was like, "Oh man, that would be something that would be a good one to pick." But the odds were so horrible. I was like, "There's no way I'm going to pick that." I picked, um, the cutting one, cutting floor, maximum security, and probable. That was my trifecta. So the trifecta didn't work out because Country House, man, just like came and stole the show. So it's a Country House. Mm, tasty. Well done. Yeah, 4.25 all day long. Little Mill 12, worth a look. Definitely worth a sample look. If you can't find a bottle, can only find a sample. Very well done. Thank you so much, both Stephen and Paul, for their hospitality on these two tastings, because they both were absolutely great. Take care, Stephen. Yeah, got to pay the bills. I know how you feel on that one. Before we turn the old tuner off here, let me answer a question here. It looks like, let's see. The choice is clear. Okay, true unicorns. Yeah, they had a bunch of Old Pulteney 17. Yeah, 17 is tough to find anymore. The place I used to have local here that had it, I think all sold out. There's one place I think that might have a 17 left in Maryland. I might have to take a little look and see if they still have anything. Because if they do, I might have to go back and get a bottle of that. Because well, I do already have it. I think I can find a 21, but I'm not sure if I'll ever find it again. Probably not. Thoughts on Glen Scotia 15? That's the one. That's the one I was looking at. Hey, Dre, I'm glad you're still there. By the way, the Glen Scotia 15 is absolutely outstanding. I think it's one of the best drams, especially for the money. It's in the top 3 of all time as far as money worth for dram and taste. The Glen Scotia 15 has it does have a little bit of that leathery Springbank funkiness, but it has a lot of sweetness, uh, almost cola aspects to it. I remember getting a lot of like uh, soda, like cherry cola. It also has grapes. A lot of grapes were on the palate on that one. The funk was perfect. Danky 15. It does taste aged. It does taste complex. It's thick. It's powerful. It's a nice mouth coat. It's only $70 for a 15-year-old. It's a steal. You cannot go wrong with it. I would buy 2, 3 bottles. If I wasn't already collecting and going to other distilleries, I would be happy just drinking Glen Scotia 15 for quite a long time. That should tell you a lot right there, pretty much. What are you drinking now, Dram? Are you enjoying the? I think I got you to go to the. What was it? It was a not a Mortlock, but not a Glenfarclas, but something else. What did I have you go try? Oh, Benromic. Did you finish your Benromic, Dram? Just curious, and if you did, would you go to? If you didn't, are you going to have anything else? Are you done for the night? Um, yeah, 17 is solid. I found it for under $80. Wow. I've never seen it for under 80. I've never seen it for under 100. I've always seen it for like 130 to 120 minimum. And that's absolute minimum. Oh, been throwing 15. I don't blame you. That sounds good. I'm going to have to get me a little bit of that somehow. I have seen that recently. I'm going to try to pick a little bit of that up, but down the road after a while. 120 is about top end. 130, wow. Under 80, you buy a case. You're talking about Old Poldy 17 you found for 99. Wow, that is crazy, Jason. That's a steal, man. I have never seen it under 120 ever. But I came into the hobby on the tail end recently, so I've only been doing it for a couple of years. Uh, I can imagine. I mean, same thing with Glen Scotia 15. I'm sure 2 or 3 years from now, it's probably going to be 100, 120, something like that. So it's when it gets out, the word gets out that how good it is. I guess partly part of our fault for getting the word out. But it's well worth it. I think it is at least. Whiskey, Texas. Yeah, they do. It's I wonder, is it hard to get things shipped to Kentucky? I wonder if it's as hard as it is if you're in a state like that versus like, I mean, DC, it's easy. They ship things all over the place in DC. And even Virginia. Maryland's tough because it's a county by county law. It's not a state thing. It's a county by county thing here, which is really strange. Still a bunch of 17 around in California. Supposedly it doesn't sell very well in Maryland, from what my guy was telling me, but I'm not sure how true that is. But they were selling it for 130, so it must be selling pretty well. I know everyone and I bought a bottle from Petite Cellars at least, so that was two of them right there. So, and we paid one. I think it was at the higher end, probably around 120 to 130. And a 21 was like 180, something like that, I think, from the last time I remember seeing. It's been a while since I've seen it. Let's see if they still have it. They had a 21 for a while, but they might have sold it. Let's just see. 21 Old Pulteney. It'd be helpful if I went to the O's, right? P open. Oh, they still have the 17 for $122.99. $122.99 is a fair price, I'd say. They still have the 12, the old 12 as well, and a Navigator, but they don't have any 21 left, man. So sad. They had a bottle for quite a while, and I should have pulled the trigger on it, but I just didn't go that route. It's not quite that scarce yet for the prices some of these guys are trying to charge for. It's kind of sad. Well, thanks so much, guys, for stopping out. We had a great time. Again, thanks, Stephen, and thanks to Generously Paul for the generous samples of salsa that we got to partake in. Wow, have we had fun. 4.75 for the 83 Balblair and a 4.25 for the LittleMill 12. Well deserved. Wish I had more. Wish you guys could go out and buy a bottle tomorrow and find it easy. We'll go back to doing some easier to find, hopefully, stuff or new stuff maybe next week. Maybe do some brand new distilleries I haven't touched yet. That's a possibility. Or maybe something new, like a LittleMill 18. I need to do like a... I've got a list. I don't have it with me, but there's a lot still left to get, so a lot of options. If you have a request, that's one thing I haven't really asked you guys, and there's probably only a handful of you left anyway, but if you have a request of something in particular that you always wanted, some notes on, let me know, and I'd be happy to try to see if I can find it or do it for you, especially if it's something I haven't done yet. Write to Telex at Outlook.com. That's Tango Echo Lima Echo X-Ray at Outlook.com, and I'd be happy to try to see if I can find it. If you send a sample, of course I'll do it, just for being gracious enough to send it. That's a easy given, and I really am thankful that all the fantastic tastes I've had over the last couple of years have been very fun to do and very worthwhile. So So cheers, Richie, Whiskey, Jason, Dram, all the guys that have hung out with me and the people that have left earlier. I really appreciate it. Thumbs up before you leave if you had fun. I appreciate it very much. After the fact, if you've watched and enjoyed yourself. Sorry so much for the technical difficulties trying to get Swami in. We'll try to get Swami in for a show too. Hopefully we'll have a chance to connect and test it out beforehand and it'll go a lot smoother. But we tried at least. We gave it a college try. Slancha Vamos, thanks always, and Whiskey for stopping. And see you guys hopefully sooner. I always talk about trying to do an off-the-wall show. I was about to do one earlier today for the Europeans. It was like 4 or 5 or 6. I can't remember what time it was, but I thought it'd be cool just to go live a little earlier for like an hour. But then I thought, well, I want to go live again afterward, and by that time I'll probably be smashed. So don't want to do that. So it's tough sometimes to do them all in the same time or whenever on a whim. But you never know. You might get lucky to do a special earlier show. Stay tuned.